With Marvel Studios and Disney going through a reshuffle on everything that they're aiming to do with the future of the MCU, we recently had a leak that allegedly sprung showing us what exactly is the future of Phase 5 and what projects we can expect. So once again, take all of this with a grain of salt because again, it's rumors, it's speculation, it's a whole lot of guesswork, it's using logical deduction, it's insiders stating what they heard, sort of amalgamated by one insider and a reporter saying this is it, this is what's going to happen. So I'm going to break it down one by one in terms of the chronological release order that we're getting, and this is only for the film side of things. TV is not included here during this alleged leak that they uncovered, which I'll talk about in a minute as well, why that's very convenient. Either way, though, apparently the first project in this next phase is next year's kickoff to the MCU, which is Marvel Studios' Captain America Brave New World. Now, of course, we know that this project is going through a problem state of its own where they're like reshooting half of the film. Is this very problematic? Is it a bad outlook? Is it concerning? Yes and no. Again, at least they realized that maybe the original version wasn't working, the Serpent Society wasn't working, the story wasn't working, too many Hulk characters, so back to the drawing board. I think that's honestly a smart thing to do, so I don't think that this is all doom and gloom like some people are making it out to be. Either way, though, right there in the summer kickoff season, just a few short months after Captain America, is Marvel's Thunderbolts with an asterisk. Now, this film is currently more than halfway done shooting, and they have a long road of post-production, but things are sounding pretty good in regards to it. Now, I know there's a lot of people complaining that there wasn't a lot of buzz from CinemaCon, but they literally couldn't show anything, so of course nobody's talking about anything because we didn't have footage or anything, so it is what it is. I'm not too worried about this. I still hate the team composition. It sounds like they're still going to try to connect it to the Eternals and whatever's happening with Project X in the MCU. That all, in my opinion, sounds pretty good. Following that, we of course have Marvel's Fantastic Four. We know the cast. We know they're starting production soon. We know they have a dead set date that they said could flow, meaning it could get delayed again, but I think it's honestly going to stay if they can meet their deadlines. Fantastic Four is sounding like a pretty big one, and previously, if you guys remember, it was supposed to lead directly into Avengers 5. But due to reshuffles, changes, going in new directions, that is no longer the case. Whether this impacts the quality of it or not, or what the plans are for Avengers 5, I don't know, but that, of course, we'll talk about when it gets closer to the film and its official release. Following the release of that, we of course have the long-awaited 5 years in development Blade. And after 5 years, they've done absolutely nothing except lose actors that signed on. And like multiple directors and scriptwriters. So holding out hope that this still happens, but hopes and pretty much everything is dwindling when it comes to this one in terms of my anticipation. I hope it happens, but that's allegedly still slated for after Fantastic Four and before the next film. This is supposed to be the big reintroduction of the occult to mainstream audiences in the film side of things, not just TV. Now, of course, you're noticing that there's no TV anywhere in here with these leaks, and that's because they're stating that they don't have any knowledge of this, which is very convenient because, well, the TV side of things is the one that's being ripped apart the most and being reshuffled. So they can't place where these projects go. Maybe it's because it's guesswork. Maybe it's because whatever. I don't really care. I'm just here to talk about the report. No TV, but you can kind of see the, I guess, flow of how TV is going to release in tandem with some of these other projects. Anyways, after that, after Blade, we have Marvel's Spider-Man 4. Which, according to this, is releasing sometime in 2026. Okay, this honestly makes sense. Well, you know, as much sense as you can make out of it, because Sony ain't making money anywhere else with Spider-Man outside of this film and Venom is on its last dance. So, we're going to see what happens here. I do believe this because they got to get the next Spider-Man film out within 5 years of the last one. How do you not? Your investors and partners are going to be absolutely going mental and pissed. So this is good guesswork, and yeah, it's spot on. I think this works. Following that, we have Marvel Studios' Armor Wars. Armor Wars is an interesting one because nothing has happened. This is like Blade syndrome. Actually, I think less has happened in Armor Wars than Blade, which is kind of shocking because it's just an Iron Man movie. Like, you've made 3 of them. You know? What's the holdup, you know? Like, what's going on? What is the problem here? You shifted it from TV to film so long ago. Where is it? So, hopefully it doesn't get scrapped, but hey, it's coming out after Spider-Man 4, so maybe that's when we're getting Ironheart in 2026. That show will have sat on a shelf for 4 years. Wild. After Armor Wars, we got Shang-Chi 2 or Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time. This placement makes sense because, from what we know, this was always supposed to be a companion piece with the next Avengers, but also with Fantastic Four. With Fantastic Four sort of reshuffling and this film reshuffling, well, it looks like this is going to be the lead-in to Avengers 5, and well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. With a trademark like Wreckage of Time, yeah, there's going to be whole sorts of, I guess, shenanigans that Kang is involved in, probably Mandarin and the Ten Rings, and well, reality breaks, and then we got the last film in Phase 5, which will be Avengers 5, whatever the subtitle is. Yeah, I mean, sure. This is a pretty decent phase enough. You know, start off with Captain America, end with an Avengers film. In there, you got our first villain film. You got the reboot Fantastic Four, a reboot of Blade. You got Spider-Man, which is a guaranteed $1 billion. You have Armor Wars, which is Armor Wars. You have Shang-Chi, which is guaranteed over 400 million, more than the last one. So I'm gonna say probably a guaranteed 500-600 million box office, which is exactly what you want. Leading into Avengers, maybe they can get a boost with the whole Wreckage of Time thing, like with Captain Marvel 1. It's a pretty decent phase, all things considered. So I think this is a good lineup. I think that there's a lot here that sounds good on paper. Whether or not this is it, who knows? If it is, I will not be disappointed. I have a bit of a different outlook on projects and things that could go into some of these places, but if this is truly what Phase 5 is, I mean, it's a lot of known commodity and a lot of new things happening on TV that's balanced out with this, hey, here's popular A-listers in films and Blade. I mean, what's not to like, right? So overall, it looks pretty satisfactory in my opinion.